Yo, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Mastering the Laws of Attraction. I'm your coach, Coach Renz. And before I start this video, let me qualify and say that not only do I come on here and I talk about spiritual things and I talk about business things and personal development, but I also, as the owner of Uncle Ren's Popcorn, which is a gourmet popcorn and ice cream shop here in Alpharetta, Georgia, but also I've done a lot of business coaching and personal coaching over the years. And there's a conversation that is in one of the groups that I belong to, Black Business Owners Group, that started yesterday, and I really wanted to make a video about it, and because it was something that I have been working on for the last few weeks anyway, so it kind of fell right in place in time at the exact right time for me to be able to come to you guys and talk about this. One of the things that I don't want to say is frustrating, but it's something that I've seen repeatedly in the Black community is the fact that I've had many people come to me and they want to open up a nonprofit business for whatever reason, whatever it is, whether it's women's shelters, it's children's shelters, it's feed the homeless, it's economic empowerment, zoning, it's creating community centers, whatever it is that they want to do, work with young men, young women. They've always wanted to do certain things, and everybody, almost everybody has come to me and they have one game plan. And that one game plan is to find people to give them money or to go out and get grant programs. And I explained to every last one of these people, it is very difficult when you have nothing to go and get a grant. It is very difficult when you have nothing to go and get people to support your vision, your dream for your nonprofit. I am not knocking anyone's game, anyone's dream, anyone's process. And that is one thing I want to take a slight deviation right there and say that too often if somebody gives you criticism in the Black community, you take it as somebody's knocking your game. You have to take it as somebody trying to help you improve your game. Sure, we have this perception of crabs in the bucket that has been fed to us, but understand the natural environment of the crab is not the bucket in the first place. So stop utilizing that as an excuse to not accept anyone else's opinions, thoughts, or suggestions concerning what you're doing. But it is just constructive criticism. We live in a real world, and you have to do things and deal with things as they are in this real world. So what am I talking about? The fact that everybody comes to me and they want to start a nonprofit. They want to build a shelter or whatever it is they want to do. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And they want to do community projects. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're missing key elements. And those key elements is this. Grants and people donating money is easier to obtain once the project is already fully funded. Wherever there is money, it attracts additional money. You have to get in that mindset. When you see these athletes, they will help in other fundraising or nonprofits, but if you look at them, for the most part, they have their own fundraiser. You look at big companies, they have their own fundraising program. You look at these Hollywood people, they have their own nonprofits. I mean to say nonprofits. They have their own nonprofit organizations. Everybody generally who has a large nonprofit organization started out building a for-profit business, and then that for-profit business funds the nonprofit, which is the advice that I've given people over the years. Create a for-profit business, allow the for-profit business to fund the nonprofit, and in that way it's fully funded. The for-profit now has a write-off, and also that money will attract additional money, because I'm more apt to give money to a women's shelter that is already in existence than somebody who just want to start a women's shelter. I have no idea what you're going to do with the money. I have no idea if you're capable of actually running this women's shelter. But if I've seen you've done it already, that you funded it already, then I have more belief that my money is going to be used for what it has been purposed for. So build a business first, and then utilize that business to initially fund your nonprofit. It will be much easier for you to attract money. So what is the conversation that was going on that was so interesting to me? The conversation was this. One of the gentlemen that I know, he made the comment that there are 40,000 people on this one particular group, and they're all business owners. The thing about it, he said that if each person gave $100, then we will be able to have $400 million, and then we can fund something like a gas station, a grocery store, whatever, in a community. Then another young lady came on and said that this is what she's trying to do. She's trying to build a strip mall, get the money to buy a strip mall, then put Black businesses in there, as well as having a community center in the strip mall. Now, a couple of things came up. One thing came up was calling it a strip mall, change the name, call it a marketplace, something like that, because we have images when it comes to naming. So we have to be careful of how we name things. And she was very amenable to that idea. But the other aspect of it, and I didn't say much, I said this without saying it directly. Too often these types of situations are not thought through. They're not played in the same realm as the real world is played. Here's the thing. If this young lady were to get the $1.5 million that she's looking for in order to buy a marketplace and set it up and say that only black businesses can be there, she's setting herself up for a lawsuit. Because if two people want to do chicken wings, one person is not black and one other person is, the person who is not black has better financials and history, and she chooses the black person on simply the base that they're black, she is setting herself up for a lawsuit. So you can't play that game that way. You have to play it in a way that makes sense so that you don't get sued. It doesn't make sense to build something like that, have something like that, and then you get sued. The next thing is that she didn't have anything kind of set up. You know, she needed structure. And I went to her GoFundMe page, and what I saw the dream, I saw the vision, but the vision didn't have structure. She has a nonprofit, but where's the board? Where and who are those people on that board? What are their qualifications? What would guarantee that when I give my money to this, these people know how to use it? And nothing guarantees you, but what would give me a good warm and fuzzy about it? Where's the financial structure? Where's the financial paperwork? How are the financial reporting is going to be done? How are your filings done? I needed to see all these things. And then as far as just buying a plaza and putting black businesses in there, what type of businesses are you putting in there? Because if you could put certain businesses in there, but that doesn't help build the Black Wall Street because you're not generating sales. What's the anchor? What's going to draw people there? What's the marketing plan? What's the advertisement program? All these things need to be in place if this is something that she wants to do. And I said pretty much most of that, some of that in my statement, but I kind of watched everybody else's statements as well. And too many people just were like, oh, well, we have this listing of businesses here and that listing of business there. Listing of businesses really don't do a whole lot. It's kind of like the Yellow Pages. Who goes to the Yellow Pages anymore? Anybody go to the Yellow Pages? I don't go to the Yellow Pages. You Google stuff. If you don't Google it, you get it through word of mouth or through Yelp or some other kind of variation, some other program, Facebook or whatever. But it did get me thinking, and I then spoke to the gentleman who started that thread, and we had a decent conversation, a good conversation that could lead up to some other things. And I've decided that I'm going to take some time over the next 3-4 months and put something together for you guys, and then I'm going to announce it, right? But I am going to have to build a board first. So to give you an idea, I'm going to build a board, but it will be complete. Let me go ahead and tell you some of it. There will be a complete plan, structure, LLC, the entire process program of how this is going to be done and situated. And then at the end of it, we'll do some kind of IPO, private IPO for it, only letting select groups of people be able to participate in the IPO. And it will have a graduated amount as we go through the first 7 rounds of funding, and then after the 7th round of funding, we'll go through an 8th round about 24 months later. But anyway, I will announce that in more detail as we go through the next few months, because the biggest issue right now for me would be to find the right people to be on the board and primary shareholders. So look for that. But if you are someone who's out there and you want to do a nonprofit organization, a nonprofit business, really think about doing a for-profit business first, all right? And then allowing that to fund you. And then don't have your salary coming from the nonprofit, from the profit business, for-profit business. Have your salary coming from the nonprofit business. That way there are even more tax deductions that you'll be able to take. These are the kind of things, we have to play this game right. See, the problem is we don't play this game right. What we want to do is come out and we want to ask people to give us money, 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 give us money. We have no accountability, but just give us money. That's what we want people to do, but it doesn't work that way. You can't expect people to give you money and you have no forms of accountability. And then the other thing is that when we're doing some of these nonprofits, like one of the bigger ones that people kept talking about on this thread is a grocery store. You cannot do a grocery store in the black community or in any community for the most part. It's very rare. Let me not say any community. It's very rare that you can do a grocery store. And the grocery store is like purely organic. All right. Whole Foods somewhat does it. Fresh Market somewhat does it. Sprouts somewhat does it. But when you're looking at you putting this in a community that is going to be looking for, pricing and items that don't cost as much, you have to really go middle of the road. It's okay to have a grocery store and you have sections that are organic and that sort of thing, but you have to hit middle of the road. If you put it if you want to regentrify an area with your grocery store, you still have to have a middle of the road grocery store. And the other thing about it is that let's build out. Let's think bigger. Let's go big. Let's think bigger. We always think it's small, like a little small grocery store, a little market. You build that little market, but then as soon as the big market come in, they'll crush you because people aren't dedicated as much as you think they are. Because you're talking about a small percent of a small percentage. You have to say, what's the middle of the road? And then build something. If everybody else can come into the black community and take money from it, then why can't you build something that as it develops first in the black community, it is then something that can be taken to any and every community? Why shouldn't you profit off all communities just as all communities profit off you? You get that? We have to think the larger scale. If you think the smaller scale, you will always be in the small pond. You have to get into the ocean, right? You have to get into the ocean. You can't swim in the pond all the time. Get in the ocean, and take your strokes and take your lumps, take your bumps, but then also build a ship that can handle the ocean. Stop building ships for ponds when you want to sail in the ocean. Because if you truly want to make changes in our community or in any community, you have to be willing to build a ship that can float through the ocean. Right? Because that's the only way it's going to function. That's the only way you're going to make a real change, right? So like I said, over the next few weeks, few months, I'll put together a board. We'll get everything situated properly, make sure all the legalese is set up correctly, and we'll begin to announce a program that we'll build a ship. We'll announce a ship. We'll build a ship. And it won't be like the Titanic. We're going to build an aircraft carrier. All right, we're gonna build an aircraft carrier so that we can launch things. So y'all have a great day. My greatness is non-negotiable, and so is yours. And I hope that this message inspires someone who is interested in doing nonprofits to do it a little bit differently, to play the game like the big boys play it, and stop playing it on a small scale. And as we go forward, I hope that you're attentive to the program that pretty much going to launch roughly around the end of the year, beginning of next year. So y'all have a great day. Enjoy this day. Take on the day. Be great in all the things that you do. Y'all have a great one.